Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Hope you all are doing good. Today we are going to understand multilinear regression and its concepts. And without delay, let us start with the topic. Let us understand multiple linear regression or multilinear regression concepts. Again, it's just an extension of simple linear regression, guys. So when we are talking about multilinear regression, it is the use of two or more independent variables to predict one dependent variable, and however all the examples which we saw is based on your regression, like you can say all are multilinear regression only. However, there are few features or the few accuracy methods which we are going to consider here, and which will show in practical example in our upcoming video. However, just understand that in simple linear regression, what we are doing, we are finding the correlation between dependent and independent features. However, here more independent features will come, which we already observed in our practical example, how it was, or how it is going to be, how we are approaching. And what it is doing, it is helping, this algorithm helping us to understand the different factors, how different factors are affecting the target variable. And this is a formula, right, which I have already explained you how this formula is getting derived. We have beta 0 plus beta 1 x1, beta 2 x2. However, this beta 0, beta 2 all are called as coefficients, right, which are impacting each features, right. Beta 0 is your intercept, and we will see in coding how these features we are driving, right. And these x1, x2, xn and all these are your independent variables or features. Y is a dependent variable or target variable. Now, we will understand how this algorithm works, right, with the example. So, here, when we're talking about linear regression, right, we are understanding how strongly correlated all the independent features with the dependent features, and we are using which method here? Heat map method, right, where we are understanding by using the color math, we are understanding, or the color coding, where the Pearson coefficient method has been used. Like those color codings are going to tell you, okay, which is highly correlated, which is low correlated, and how those things are affecting with each other, right. So we understood that, and just take one example, how labels of rainfall, temperature and fertilizer additions are showing better results in case of cultivating or in case of harvesting, right. Similarly, we have one more example here where a public health researcher is showing interest in social factors, how that influence heart disease, right. And when they're surveying, or that like health researcher is surveying 500 towns and gather data, right, on the different percentage of people in each town who are smoking, okay, who are taking bike to work, and the people or percentage due to that, how many people have got heart diseases. So all these things they have collected the data. Now what we understood, okay, we have two independent variables and one dependent variable, and all variables are quantitative, right. And here we are using multiple linear regression to analyze the relationship. So this is how people are coming to the conclusion on which algorithm they are using, because they saw, okay, the one group of people who are smoking, so that is one type of variable, and one type of people who are very lazy, who are very less walking, and they are just taking bike in each and every case. So that is one more case of variable, and they are coming to a conclusion that, okay, we have two independent and one dependent. Then what are the assumptions which we are considering here when it is coming to the multiple linear regression or multilinear regression? One very important assumption you will get in interviews, which is homoscedasticity. Homoscedasticity. that is nothing but here when the size of the error, what is error? The difference between actual and predicted, right? The values which are coming over the regression line, that is your predicted value, and the values which are above your regression line, those are your actual value. So when we are talking about the size of those errors in our prediction, which will not change significantly across the independent variables. So that is one of the assumptions which are taking. Like when I'm talking about the errors or the quantification of errors, that will not change much throughout your independent variable. That is one homoscedasticity. Then what is the next observation here or the next assumption? Independence of observations. When we are talking about multiple linear regression or multilinear regression, there is a possibility that some of the independent variables are actually correlated with each other, but sometimes we are missing it. Sometimes we are missing it to check. So it is always important to check each and every relation between independent and dependent feature, and that is nothing but you're observing your features or observing the correlations between features. Suppose you are observing, okay, and when two independent variables which you have are highly correlated. So I said that highly correlated is greater than 0.9. However, here you can see the R2 score which they have taken, they are taking is 0.6. However, it's not the case. I mean, more than 80, we are going to consider that as highly correlated. Then, if you are seeing that two independent variables are highly correlated with dependent variable, then in that case, you can consider only one of them, which like you need to use both the features one at a time, and you need to understand the accuracy or the prediction, how better it is predicted. Then we have something called normality, which in each regression case, the data should always follow normal or Gaussian distribution, right? Then linearity, the line of best fit through all the data points is a straight line rather than a curve or some sort of grouping factor. So it should not be curve. Curve means it is a polynomial regression. So we will see that concept. When the data is coming in a curve, very too much curve, then that is some degree of polynomial which has been coming into picture, and that should be avoided here in case of linear regression. And again, when you're talking about straight line, let me just draw it. So when you're talking about straight line, it should not be like this always, right? It should not be like this. If the data will come like this, then a model will never predict in this way, right? The data should always follow this trend, not this straight. So when I'm talking about straight line, they are talking like this straight line, okay? Then now we understood the assumptions part, like what are the assumptions we have to consider, and that's again one of the important interview question which you'll get. And again the matrices, right, which you are considering for accuracy and for comparing different models. If you have similar kind of models with this matrix, you can be able to know, okay, which has greater predicting capability. And these are the matrices which we are using, and we understood this in our simple linear regression concept. And we have mean square error, right, where we are averaging the square differences. Then in case of large data sets, the mean square error is always going to come high, right? Then root mean square error, that's just the square root of the mean square error. Then we have mean absolute error. In mean absolute error, what we are doing, you are seeing the absolute differences or the mode of predicted actual and predicted difference. Then we are not squaring the data, so here these are the robust method for outliers. Then if you have a smaller mean absolute error, then that's a best fit or better fit. Then we have R square or R2 square, or the coefficient of determination. this is nothing but like I have already explained you that how R2 square and R2 square we are calculating. This is the formula for calculating the R2 square, and this is the determination of features. And when I'm talking about R2 square, I have already explained you that the number of features which you are considering, the value R2 square value, if you are adding number of features more, then it is not increasing. It will not always increase. And however, when you are adding more and more features, when the adjusted R2 square concept will come, the value should decrease, right? Then only we will understand, okay, those features are working well with the model. So if R2 is coming 1, then that means a perfect prediction. If R2, because the value we saw in our real example, right? The value is coming somewhere around 0 to 1. So we saw somewhere around 0.9, 0.5, 0.32 like that, right? So you can see that what is what. Like if it is 1, then it is prediction is perfect. If it is 0, it is not able to understand the data. If it is coming between 0 to 1, that means it is moderately performing or performing better or okay. Then we have adjusted R2 square, and adjusted R2 square is something we need to understand in our practical example, and I will show you. Adjusted R2 square is what is going to happen when you are adding new features. If that feature is not fully correlated to the existing features, it will penalize. It will penalize the data and it will reduce the R2 score. And higher R2 score is better fit. But adding unnecessary value definitely will lower it, and I have already explained you that. Then we have one more matrix which we are going to check is mean absolute percentage error. So mean absolute percentage error is again what? It's a percentage of actual values. So here what they are doing, this is the formula. Actual minus predicted divided by actual, and they are taking mode of it, and here they are dividing by 100. 100 divided by the number of features, and lower MAPE percentage is equal to better model. And sometimes what is happening, right? If you have the data set where the actual values are very, like sometimes we saw, right, the values are coming very minimal or 0.00 when are scaling down 0.0001 like in or 0.3 like that, then in those cases this kind of things will be misleading, and it might give you the wrong output. So we understood how multiple linear regression works, and we will see the practical example point of view in our upcoming videos. Thank you. Well, that is all for now. We will cover further topics in our upcoming videos. Please start subscribing, like, share your comments, share your feedback, share this channel link to all your friends or suggest them to go through this channel. And till the next time, see you. Bye. Take care.